Hi, everyone. So that was lovely for David. So glad you all got to hear that. Next up, we have our first project team of the night, who is going to be SoundMind. So the two co-founders of SoundMind, Femminella and Travis Chen, are going to be speaking tonight on their app, how they created it, and all the wonderful things that came from it. So let's welcome Brian and Travis to the stage.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brian Femminella, and I'm one of the co-founders here at SoundMind, and we're really excited to be here today to talk with you about what we're doing in the technological space.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Travis. I'm one of the co-founders and COO here at SoundMind, and we're super excited to share with you what we're doing in this tech for good space. And we also want to, first of all, thank ShiftSC and, of course, all the sponsors here tonight for just putting on a wonderful event. The entire team are freshmen, and it's just incredible to see what they're doing. So congratulations to the entire team.
Yeah, for us, the first thing I want to mention is how SoundMind was never supposed to be where it has been today. We started as a vision and a project for technological good. For us, one of the things we noticed was the mental health crisis. If you kind of look up here, you can see the alarming numbers. If you can see that, it's 11% of US adults seriously consider suicide. You have 1 in 4 young people are reportedly having suicidal thoughts, and those numbers go on. If you've recently been watching the news, if you've recently been out there looking at what NCAA athletes are facing, the recent suicides among that community, the lack of accessibility to resources created our drive to do something that was in tech, but that was for mental health, especially with everything going on and the situations we faced. So I like to start off by sharing our story, because it's definitely unique how the two of us kind of came together. Yes, we both are USC students. He's an alum now, but we didn't come together from USC here on this campus grounds. My story comes back from where, at 17 years old, I enlisted in the United States Army. So I went to Fort Jackson, South Carolina. I went to boot camp. I started to do my training, met a lot of great colleagues, and unfortunately had a few of those colleagues go through mental health struggles, PTS, and one of my closest friends lost his memory to post-traumatic stress, which for me in turn at 17 was an eye-opener for what can happen and what the ultimate sacrifice could be, regardless of if it means taking your own life, it could mean taking the memory that you have. And for me, I took that path and started to do research on post-traumatic stress, on how neuroplasticity, which is how your brain can change over time, is affected by music, by sound. And that research propelled my studies and the way I thought for 2 years with Dr. Scott Spencer, one of the professors here at USC's Thornton School of Music, which then also allowed me to couple my other passion, which is policy. So I moved out to Washington, D.C. Over 2 years ago now, and really started to build out my journey in political advocacy for the LGBTQ community, for the military community, and for how we can use technology to positively impact the policies that are extremely outdated. And that's kind of where my story and my vision was encompassed, and I'll save the end for Travis.
Thanks, Brian. So my story started not too far away from this campus, about 30 miles away where I grew up in Arcadia, California. And there, similar to all of you guys who are here at USC now, I began experiencing a lot of mental health issues because of the competitiveness that we had. It was all about how many AP classes you took, what your SAT scores were, what your ACT scores were, and leadership positions you had in high school, right? And I'm sure a lot of you guys probably resonate with that a lot. And so for me, my coping mechanism was meditation. Headspace, Calm, those apps were just starting at the very beginning. And so I started using those apps and found meditation to help me a lot throughout my process in high school. And then I sat on my local school board where I started getting into policy like Brian at the local level of my city. And I told the board members, I said, there is something that we need to address, and that's mental health. And this was back in 2016. And so I put a committee of students together, and we brought over 10 different speakers, from meditation speakers to yoga speakers to different classes, to teach us on how we can really take care of ourselves in high school. And that's when really everything sparked for me, that I don't need to be just a bystander in this mental health pandemic that we're facing, but really be an impact driver in this space. And then it came here on this campus right here. I was actually walking down Truesdale, and I opened the New York Times app, as I still do today, and I saw a news from the Columbia University. And it was a news about how a 20-year-old, actually 19-year-old, had killed himself, devastatingly killed himself from the 19th floor of his dorm at Columbia University. And I read, and the name sounded so familiar, and that name, unfortunately, was actually my own childhood best friend's name. He actually took his own life at Columbia University just as a sophomore because of everything that he was going through. And I found out on the New York Times. And that was the first time I've ever checked into the Engelman Student Center because I was feeling extremely depressed and had anxiety of what I can do and what I should be doing. I'm literally the same age as him. And so that's when everything clicked. And a few months later, we actually, Brian and I both moved to DC, and that's actually where we met. We were interns working for the 116th Congress. I was on the Senate side, he was on the House side, and we were both individually doing mental health policy on education, in tech, and other advocacy. And that's when we joined forces, and COVID hit, actually, and we said, what do we do with our lives? And we joined forces, sat on Zoom calls day after day, 5 hours, 6 hours, 10 hours, and developed what we are calling today SoundMind.
So our story took off from Washington, D.C., and this is who we are today. We're a community that focuses on helping Afghanistan and Ukrainian refugees. We're a company that is on the front lines right there, ready to help COVID first responders like we were for the last 2 years. We're a company that gathers people together, as you can see behind us, on different Zoom calls, at different events, brings singers together in the community that allows them to share their story. Because it's more than just how you can use technology, it's how you can have others share their story through the power of technology, which is what we've harnessed here at SoundMind, especially in the mental health space. So a little bit now about what our platform does, and version 1 is behind me. I'll talk about what's coming up soon. But this is on the left-hand side, you can see our audio therapy. So think of it as Tinder, Bumble, or whatever other dating app the world has made today. And you can swipe left and right on these sound bubbles as if you were on a dating app, because certain sounds, certain songs, certain ambient sounds are not always favored by everybody. And this allows you to pick, choose, and determine what you want to listen to. And the more you do it, our algorithm that we've built out learns who you are based on what you're doing, and we're able to then tailor your entire experience. On the right, on my right, you'll be able to see our mood-based visual therapy. You select your mood, whether it's unmotivated, sad, depressed, unhappy, whatever that may be, and we provide you the opposite audio therapy in a visual format for individuals who are experiencing those same instances. And this was just the beginning for us in our first launch.
So a few features that we're currently working on, and I'm not sure if anyone in the audience has downloaded our app, but we're actually working day in and day out, literally until 1, 2 a.m. in the morning, on some new features. And so these are some features that we're building out right now. And the first one being our B2B HR mental health monitoring. We realize, and we talk to CEOs, we talk to CFOs, we talk to chief human resource officers and managers in general at corporate companies, at startups, and in small, medium-sized businesses, that they do not know what the mental health of their employees are. They know that they're struggling, that they know that they're feeling the mental health struggles that they're going through, but they do not know the reasons why. So we're creating a fully anonymous B2B platform, a software as a service that tracks the mental health of employees through the usage of our app, and managers are able to see that on the back end with daily questionnaires, with tracking of our app features, etc. We're also building out brain exercises, which we're really excited about. This is going to help with cognitive training, improving memory, improving sleep, improving concentration. And we're so really excited about what we're building here at SoundMind for our games. And lastly, of course, what Brian said, we're expanding our Soundscapes creating feature. So we have a great collection, a library of sounds, and we're expanding that out actually with 20 different artists that are coming to our platform with a total of 25 million following, including many who are actually performing and competing at American Idol this month. This is our B2B archetype. So we are now transforming into more of a B2B platform and company. The goal here is really to address the mental health illness that can contribute to up to 35% of loss in productivity, which totals to over $200 billion a year. And so we're really going after this. We're understanding that not only is it for companies, but also for universities, for organizations, for nonprofits, for even at the high school and elementary school levels. And so we're already talking with a lot of companies right now to really explore this prototype and make sure that this is something that's effective, and we're really excited to be launching this summer.
So when you think about where we came from our project, I think it's important to also recognize how we continue to help people far beyond what we already have. I don't know if anyone is aware of certain mental health restrictions now. The question I always get asked is, do you have to deal with the FDA? Do you have to go through the FDA? Well, I can tell you that because mental health apps are now so relevant, the NIH has released a statement and a structure that you as a mental health application have to be clinically approved by the NIH in order to continue doing studies with real people. Last week, we were actually approved for NIH clinical testing for SoundMind after a year and a half, and we plan to take that testing to collaborate with our partners in Los Angeles. They're called Miri's List. They work with Afghanistan and Ukrainian refugees to bring SoundMind to the front door of families that just entered the United States for free. The next thing we're also working on is how we're building out our testing for people who are struggling with depression, anxiety, and trauma, and self-identify as struggling with those. We've already been testing COVID-19 nurses and people in the communities that are struggling from the effects of the economy from COVID-19. So we've continued to propel ourselves into, I would say, multiple different markets of people that need assistance for us to be able to tell as a team where it's most effective. And one thing we've recognized is what we're missing is more music artists, more contribution, more community. So as Travis spoiled, we have 20 new artists that we're now bringing onto the platform that are really going to share their stories and their music that's specific to SoundMind and that focuses on training the brain.
So we are on the App Store already, and we are so happy whenever we receive a review like these on the platform here. And I'm not going to read these one by one, but we've heard stories of people who have benefited using our app from sexual assault experiences, or maybe even like my friend who recently went to Indonesia for a trip for work, and it helped him with his jet lag. So we're hearing stories one after another, and we're just so happy and so proud of the effects of technology, right? This is why we're here today, technology, and how technology can help people, not just on a personal level, but also on a mental, physical, and also professional level. So we're really excited about what we hear every single day here with our users.
So one of the last things I want to share with you today is a story that's close to me. We had an individual that, again, talking about technology, TikTok can actually help your mental health. Newsflash, this is how. So we had an individual who commented on someone's story that had COVID in the very beginning. And the person commented, hey, I have a blood oxygen level of whatever it was. And everyone was like, very grueling comments. And this one person was like, hey, I'm a COVID-19 nurse. You're going to be okay. Here is why. I reached out to that nurse because we just finished prototyping our first technological application, which is now SoundMind, and we wanted her nurse group to test it. So we flew to Erie, Pennsylvania. If any of you are from there, it's small compared to LA. And we were able to work with those nurses every single day when they would get out of work, when they would take this is the time where they had face shields, 5 masks on their face, and be able to help them with their story. And this nurse actually fully transitioned and now works as a team member at SoundMind from being inspired by the work we do here. And I always want to mention this, pivotal story because the pandemic is still occurring and the people's effects on their mental health, that's only just beginning. And stories like this, people like this are going to help us. We are just the visionaries and people with the idea to bring something together. The people that work with us, inspire us, and tell us that we're wrong all of the time, those are the people that are really going to help us make a difference and how we can continue to use our skills in technology to build out musical algorithms to help people truly who don't have access to these technologies.
So what's next for SoundMind? I'll be real quick because I know that we're a little bit over time here. So we're bringing on 20 artists, like we said, from multiple different backgrounds to really share their mental health journey and why they've created those songs that they've created. We're partnering and participating in events that support the communities that we're trying to target, including the LGBTQ, including New York Pride and LA Pride, and different veteran events this summer and throughout the rest of the year. And we're launching our B2B platform for anonymous mental health tracking for employers. And lastly, we're doing a complete revamp of our current UI for our design and to make sure that we are able to help and continue to support those that we are trying to target here at SoundMind.
This is a quick preview of what our version 2 is going to look like. Yes, it's going to have dark mode, and we're going to be able to share a lot of different ways that users can incorporate their mental health with each other. So I want to finish it off by just saying before I hand it over to Travis that starting a vision that started as research 4 years ago here at USC has led us into our full-time careers as we now leave USC and move on into the world, along with our other service commitments. So we want to continue to help communities, and if you have communities and you have suggestions, please let us know, and we're going to continue to build, and thank you.
Thank you so much.